Back around the end of 2017, I created a video called Creator's Block over on another channel, which I have ceased to continue posting on. But the premise of the video was rather simple. Something that all people who have some kind of creative or artistic hobby, or even just any kind of hobby in general, all experience. This thing that we all experience is creative block, and it's whenever you look at, say, a piece of paper and you're wanting to draw something. Say you're an artist and you want to draw something or paint something, but nothing quite comes to mind. You can't seem to figure out what exactly you want to create or how to create the thing that you've decided to create. Or let's say you're an editor and you're not quite sure what kind of cuts to make or what kind of transitions you should actually put into the video or what kind of stock footage you should collect or search for to create your project. Similar as, say, a writer. Maybe you can't think of anything to actually write for the particular paragraph, page, book, whatever it is. You just come up blank. As if you've smacked right into the middle of a wall whilst trying to focus. And this can happen at any time, whether just before you've started something, whether you're halfway through, or whether you're nearing the end of your project. It is something that happens inevitably to every single human being. It's a fun thing. It's creator's block, or creative block, mental block, running into a wall. Fun. So let's break this down then. What is creator's block? Like I said, creator's block has a multitude of different names. It goes by creative block, artistic block, burnout, writer's block, hitting the wall, mental block, etc, etc, etc. You get the picture. To be perfectly honest, whilst making this video, I had about 3 weeks of creator's block. It's not even funny. Creating a video on creator's block and getting creator's block whilst creating the video on creator's block. Say that 5 times fast. It's always a very fun thing to experience this, as it makes you feel human, but at the same time, it makes you want to strangle something. So, you know, there's pros and cons of it. Pros and cons. When you are a creative person and this creator's block hits you, it affects people in a multitude of different ways. For some people, they get really depressed. For some, they get agitated. For others, they just go blank and numb for days. For others, it increases stress levels and the multitude of different things. It can affect people either in a really bad way or maybe in a good way. Maybe it gives them opportunity to go try something else. But the inevitable unanimous decision is that writer's block is a bollocks. The inevitable thing that you have to do is wait it out or force it out, and that can be very difficult. There is quite a lot of speculation as to the neurological reason why we all experience this. Some believe that our creative ability is tied directly to our speech, and our imagination is tied to our speech and our language, part of our brain. So maybe there's some kind of disconnect, or maybe we're running that muscle too much and we experience creator's block. There's still a lot of speculation as to why we actually experience this from a neurological point of view. It's rather funny actually. We can experience all these different things and determine what it is exactly within our brains, but when it comes to creator's block hitting you like a bat out of hell, well, it's a very interesting thing to be able to figure out, and it not being well documented. You'd think something like this would be, but then again, it's not a very pressing concern to a lot of scientists or doctors. Not exactly something that would cause you to go insane or have a really bad day, but it can affect your mood and your stress levels, maybe sometimes financial levels as well. But anyway, moving on. Now, as said before, it can affect people in a various multitude different of ways. That was great English. Let's just get this little bit out of the way, because it can affect people in certain ways. It can overwhelm a person to the point where they're emotionally to the point that they break down, or alternatively, it could cause the person to procrastinate so much that they avoid the project, as it were, for a very long time. It could just well be that you're struggling so much with this that it affects other parts of your life as well, whether it be relationships or your business or your mental state, for one. And all of that added together could make it so difficult for you to simply focus on the task at hand, or anything else for that matter, because there's a form of guilt that comes from not being able to work on something that you've been wanting to work on. Now, creator's block can come from many different things, like say you're in mourning, or you have financial worries, or you have relationship worries, or you feel like you're going to get fired, or just stress in general is a very big cause of creator's block, although for many other people it is a very big influence in their creative work, and actually can encourage others to work even harder. So as I said, it affects people in different ways. Of course, another example of creator's block is if you're working with other people. Maybe you don't have a direction as to where you're wanting to bring the project, or maybe multiple different people have different ideas as to how the project should be finished, which can inevitably cause the project to come to a standstill. Excuse me. And this in effect can cause creative block for a lot of different people at the exact same time as well. Sometimes communication is something that you need in order to combat this from happening in the first place. So the question is, how do we deal with creator's block? There are quite a few different strategies to combat this. And the reality is, they're all very simple and straightforward. Surprisingly enough. A great example is, go have a shower. Now, you might think, well, that's a bit straightforward. How is that going to help? Well, for one, you'll feel clean and you'll feel relaxed a little bit, but it's also the fact you've heard of the concept shower thoughts. Why is it sometimes the best ideas you've ever had, or some of the most creative and ingenious ideas you've ever had, have come when you're in the shower? The reason being is because you've taken your mind off of the project itself and you've focused on some other task in order to get yourself outside of that environment. So this is why it's called shower thoughts, because you're able to let your mind wander and not focus so much on one particular concept. Also, showers help improve your mood and help you be clean, so that could also be a possible reason. But the main reason is because you're taking your mind off of the issue and being able to let your mind roam free. So yeah, go have a shower. I, for one, probably need one right now. Clean your work environment. This one's kind of self-explanatory, really. Clean your desk, where your computer is, where your room is, or your work environment, whatever it is, clean it. Our minds are very complicated things, and our environments are extremely important when it comes to how our mental state and our creative ability flows. It's very, very important. If our desks are a complete mess, our mind probably is as well. Although we may know where things are on our desk, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the most efficient way to work. When you know where everything is and everything's laid out in front of you in a nice, clean, orderly pile, it's much better than the phrase organized chaos, where you know where everything is, but it's hidden under about 1,000 different pieces of paper. So clean your environment. You'll be surprised how well it actually helps with your creative endeavors. Knowing that your desk is tidy and that you can use the desk to its best efficiency helps your brain become more sharp and more aware and better able to combat the creative block. Brainstorm. This one might sound a little bit counterintuitive, especially if you have creator's block, but just bear with me here. The reason I say this is because a lot of people believe in the term good things come to those who wait. Reality is, if you're a creative person, inspiration doesn't come to you. When you wait, inspiration does not just leap out of the blue and approach you. It doesn't work like that. You have to be proactive. So brainstorming is one of the best ideas that you can actually use to combat creative block. If you have a problem that requires a creative solution, the best thing to do is sit down and think of all the possible ways to get out of the situation or to improve the situation. If you can't think of that, then think of how you actually got yourself into this situation in the first place. How did you arrive to the point where you had no clue where to go from here? Retrace your steps and figure out what was the best solution to each individual step. And sooner or later, if you keep doing that, if you keep figuring out where you are and where you've been, you'll be able to figure out where to progress. And this can involve different things like researching, like on the internet or through books or videos or through music, whatever the case is. However you research whatever you're doing, research by brainstorming and going online and figuring out all these different things, it can help you greatly. It can really, really help you and give you many more ideas that you can work on in the future after that. Go hang out with friends. Socialize. Now obviously if you're an introvert, that may not be the best solution for you, but just, again, bear with me for a second. This doesn't mean that you have to go out and binge drink with, friends or anything like that. All it means is to hang out with other people, to get other people's point of view, or just to simply get your mind out of the zone of trying to figure this problem out. The reality is a lot of our greatest solutions to problems has been through random conversation with other people. Whether this is gaming with other friends, going out for a walk with someone, hanging out at lunch, getting dinner, whatever the case is, whatever it is that you do with your friends, if you have any. If you don't, you can go online and meet some new friends. My point is, other people experience life in a very different way to you. No one person experiences life the exact same. Everyone has a unique perspective, and those different perspectives often give you the upper hand when trying to combat creative block. And if you know people who are also creative, they might have run into this problem before and have a solution for you, or have an idea that you could potentially work on to improve your situation. The amount of times that I personally have gotten into a rut and all it took was to simply ask someone I knew who was in a similar situation or who has encountered this before is not even funny. And I don't like asking people for help. I don't like asking for opinions or encouragement or solutions. I like to figure this stuff out for myself, but I know for a fact that whenever I get myself into a rut, I have to reach out and I have to talk to other people. I have to figure out what other people would do in this situation. And this is one of your most valuable tools in order to combat it. Simply put, everyone deals with life in some shape or another. Although it really is a pain when we encounter creative block, there's nothing we can really do about it except push through it and wait it out. Sit down and do your best to focus yourself through it. That's the best that we can do. Eventually you will move past it. That's the thing. You will always move past it. You will always find a solution. You will always find a way to bring whatever you're wanting to bring to life. It just takes time, and it just takes a lot of effort and a lot of concentration, but you will eventually get through it. And then once you've gotten through it and you've created a rhythm and a flow again, you'll wonder how exactly you were in that rut in the first place. It really is just a natural part of life. That's all it is. It's a natural progression of life, and it comes in cycles. You'll work a bit, you'll find a flow, you'll hit creator's block. You'll work a bit, you'll find your flow, you'll hit creator's block. And you could be working for months at an end and never have this. Or you could have it every single day. My point is, it's natural and it happens, so don't beat yourself up about it. Just do what you can to force yourself through it. And do what you can to figure out the solution to the problem that you have. And do research, learn constantly. You will find a way through it, don't worry. If I can make it through creator's block for multiple years, so can you. In reality, it's just patience. That's all it is. And lastly, if you're really needing to get a project done and you can't find a solution, then get someone else's opinion or perspective. Or do a little research online, books, videos. There is a vast source of information online. A vast source of information, and if you're not using it, you're wasting it. With that being said, thank you very much for watching this video, and hopefully you've come out of this video with a little bit of knowledge on how to fight creative's block, because it is a pain in the ass, but you'll be able to fight it, and hopefully it'll become a little bit easier over the years because you'll find some strategies that work personally for you, and hopefully this video has helped you find some personal strategies to help you through it. Hopefully, that's kind of the purpose of this, but we'll see. We'll see. If you want to help support me and the type of videos that I'm creating, then hit that subscribe button, the like button, and the bell notification. And if you want to go that step further, then you can follow me over on Patreon and support me there. All that being said, thank you very much for watching. All the best. Good luck. But even then, it's like you're pumping out content. And I think that's one of the things that is helping you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad somebody noticed. People take note, please.
But speaking of which, let's get into that like a bit.